Hi, friends.
I'm Zach.
I'm Mitch.
And we are an excellent little podcast.
Presenting you a little movie podcast starring Zach and Mitch.
Wait, Mitch, are we doing a podcast?
We are doing a podcast.
I thought we were doing a YouTube channel.
We're doing something, okay?
We're working on it, okay? We're working on it.
You know, it's a strange world after all.
Mixing in multiple Disney stuff there. All right.
Speaking of
this,
we are talking about Strange World, the new Walt Disney animation film made by Disney. We are Disney cast members, therefore we do not speak for the brand or the company, and our thoughts and our opinions are our own. And we also have a new CEO.
Oh, we do. We do have a new CEO.
Well, not
a new one. He's returning. Big Papa Iger's back.
Welcome
baby.
back, Bob Iger.
Welcome back, buddy. We're excited to have you back. It's truly been too long.
See you later, K-Pack.
Well, it's okay. He said that there were going to be layoffs. But don't worry, my friends. Like we said, our thoughts are our own here.
Let's get on. Okay, so the directors and screenplay, it was by Queen,
Nguyen
and Don Hall. And screenplay was also by Queen Nguyen.
So yeah.
Here's the thing.
Mitch, did this script seem a bit basic to you?
Yeah. The whole film was kind of basic to me.
It really just kind of played it safe.
Well,
in terms of story.
And what number was this for you?
For me,
because this was your top 10.
Yeah, it was in my top 10.
You get on that.
Yeah, I'll work on that really quickly.
No, let me. You keep talking.
Yeah, but I'll go ahead and move on with our summary.
That's right.
Yeah, so the summary of Strange World is the legendary Clades family, which are explorers whose differences threaten to topple their latest and most crucial mission. So because that's kind of how we go, we're going to go ahead and kind of tell you how we split up the episodes really quick here. So we're going to start out with our non-spoiler section, which has to do with our cast performances, our first thoughts, and a couple of non-spoilery things. Then we'll dig into our review. And after we dig into our review, we'll move on to our spoiler section after we sound an alarm.
Please forgive me. I'm about to replay one of our videos because Mr. Somebody over here forgot to say which one it was, and he can't remember. So you know what? You're gonna get a nice little background music. So Zach, let me hand you that because it's my turn to talk about the thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely.
This film was a byproduct of our old CEO. Very high in marketing, very low in quality, and very low in creativity. I enjoyed the film, but it still wasn't that great because, you know, when I think of a Disney film, I see innovation, I see excitement, I see wanting more. And after viewing this film, I'm just like, what the potatoes did I literally just witness? Because I
got it.
I don't know. Like, I felt studio interference. I felt something was wrong going behind the scenes. And I just feel like the film that was released was done and finished 2 days before release. That's how I felt about this film.
That's fair.
What'd you think of your number?
5. It was my top 5. It was number 5.
Oh shit.
Y'all, now again, if you remember back to that episode that I was just listening to,
you probably heard it.
Probably heard a little bit of it.
Okay, I do have to say this is actually fucking hilarious.
No, it's fine. It happens. But if you remember back to my top 10,
thank you for staying with us.
Yeah. If you remember back to my top 10, I really loved the possibility of this film. I thought that the art style of how the world looked phenomenal. I really loved how it was supposed to be like a 1920s sci-fi radio show thriller. I thought that was going to be very, very fun to kind of bring back and kind of experiment with Walt Disney Animation. I thought that was a really great way to go into it.
We didn't get that.
But holy crap, did we really not get any of that?
No.
I I was really disappointed by this film. The performances were lackluster. The world, the actual world itself, once you kind of got into it, the visuals were really, really great, but the relationships were kind of meh. I felt like there were too many characters in this story. They were trying to do multiple themes. It kind of, everything just kind of collided and kind of hurt itself all over again.
Yeah, let's talk about those kind of meh performances, because honestly, all three that we're about to mention, they weren't that great.
No.
Jake Gyllenhaal as Searcher, what's his face? Clade?
Yeah. Basic. I really...
Literally basic.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it was him. I'm like, you're not trying anything, dude. And Dennis Quaid as Jaeger Clade? Why the hell was he even in this film?
He was a crazy dad, but like it wasn't funny.
No,
it wasn't
at all.
It wasn't heartfelt. There was like one heartfelt moment that I did get between Searcher and Jaeger, like once.
Yeah.
And it's really late in the film, but I was like, y'all, this is coming way too late.
Yeah, and the father-son relationship was so stupid between those two.
And then we get into Jabuki Young White's Ethan Clade.
I liked him.
He was good.
Yeah, I liked him.
It was, and it's great because, the reason why I feel like Disney didn't market this and they played it safe on the rest of the movie was because of this character specifically.
Yeah.
It's great for representation.
Yeah.
But he's still also a very bland character.
Yeah.
But again, out of the characters and the actors,
I feel like he was
he's the one that performed the best.
I agree.
Out of all of them.
Yeah,
he also didn't get a great script out of it, but he took the script better than Jake or Dennis did.
Yeah.
I feel like Jake Gyllenhaal and Dennis Quaid phoned it in as opposed to Jabuki, who actually tried to do something with it.
Yeah. So there's our cast. Yeah, it's not looking good. So now we're into some non-spoilery things. First bit is the Generations to Legacy theme was stupid.
Well, and
no. What the hell are you trying to do having a Generation Legacy theme in this film when you are going into a sci-fi related bit?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are we doing here?
And that's the thing. I think... So I appreciate that Disney's been trying to tackle like generational issues throughout their last couple films. But it's really interesting that that this one really didn't hit because I mean, especially I feel like technically we are actually the target audience for this one.
We are, yeah.
With what the father's legacy is for their sons.
Yeah.
And both of our fathers have very different legacies and how that impacts us.
And we will probably have different legacies for our sons.
Exactly.
And that's
kind of how it kind of goes into like, how does that affect your relationship going into you as being a parent after having a not so great legacy left onto you? In concept, great idea, but very poorly executed. And they didn't really give enough time for the initial like Searcher and Jaeger relationship to like bloom or blossom at all.
Because the pacing was off.
Because the pacing was terrible in this film. So you barely spent any time with that relationship.
Yeah.
That you barely feel Jaeger's legacy. You know it's big, but you barely feel it.
Yeah.
And then you know that Searcher feels hurt from Jaeger, from his parenting style, but you, again, barely see it, so you really don't have an emotional tie to it. So...
Yeah, I know. I can tell you're getting frustrated. So let's talk about a positive thing.
Yeah.
Positive things.
Positive.
And the words of Jeff Goldblum, it's best to remain positive. The visuals for this film were actually pretty good. There's a bit in this film where like one of the like visual characters was being made and like, oh, I want to merchandise. And like, that is a bipartisan of our old CEO.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, the visuals were actually pretty good. I gotta applaud the visuals.
I wasn't a fan of the character designs, I'm not gonna lie. I thought the character designs were not artistically great, and they didn't even feel Disney-esque as well.
I will agree.
They had the Disney eyes, but in terms of like the actual figure, they weren't all that great.
Right.
But the world visuals, I thought, is where this movie really does shine. And that's where you can kind of feel like the tiniest hint of like the 1920s sci-fi feel is in the world design, because it's so weird, so wonderful, and when you find out what the twist is, it really makes sense, and you realize what you were seeing and whatnot. So like, it's very, very cool, very, very otherworldly. It's strange. It's a strange world. So I feel like the animators did a very good job on that aspect. And
Speaking of
another positive that I also want to kind of like tip my hat off to, we as Disney fans are always saying we need new IP. We need new IP. We need new IP. So I will tip my hat at least off to Disney for at least trying something new.
yes.
I do want to highlight, no matter what we give this movie a review on, just even if this movie does or does not do great,
Which it's not going to.
does not mean new IP doesn't need to be in this company. It does. We cannot keep on banking on recognizable IP. Disney is all about innovating, so please continue to make new innovating. And so I want to give one more positive, and thank you for giving us a new IP.
I get you. And with our new CEO,
This is a message for you, Bob, and not for the other Bob. For you, Bob.
Speaking of that 1920s,
Where
it's not
was
there.
it?
Yeah,
Where was it? It was in the intro, like, and then it went away. It literally went away, and it kind of came back with, for some reason, randomly at the end, and it was so jarring. And I came back with like the small spoiler. It came back as a comic book, and I was like,
what the hell?
That wasn't even what you started with. You didn't even start with a comic book. You started as a radio show.
All right.
What?
Let's review it, Zach.
What?
I know. Okay, so how we review these? We have 3 categories. 1, we feed it to the dog Jazz, meaning we didn't like it at all. We still wish for you to see it and form your own opinion, but we did not enjoy it. The second one needs to cook a little more, meaning it was not bad, not great. Director change, script change, whatever. The film was just there.
Yeah.
The third one is eat it up. I doubt we gave it that, meaning we enjoyed it. We definitely recommend it. But if you want to wait for Disney Plus, by all means, but you still need to see it because we thought we enjoyed it. I'm starting this film.
You started this last one. You started the last couple. I'm taking this one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking this one.
Okay.
I'm feeding this to the dog.
I'm also feeding it to the dog.
It's not even a question. Like this
is fed to the dog.
This, again, it did have a moment. It did have good visuals, and it was new IP, but that's all it had going for it. Everything that I was sold on was a lie. I'm so disappointed by this. And again, we do not speak for the brand or the company, and our thoughts are our own. Again, do not let this be punishment for doing new IP. Continue doing new IP. Not every IP is going to be a flying success. Encanto is actually a good example of it. Brand new IP, sort of. It's still kind of Disney princessy, but still brand new IP. Did not do as great at the box office as it was planning on doing.
It got critical acclaim, though.
It got critical acclaim, but did not do well at the box office. But then it became a hit
on Disney Plus.
So just because it's not an outright success does not mean that it's that new IP is done for. So take the loss, because this is a loss. And learn from it.
You know what's funny? This is the first time on your top 10 that we both agree that a feed to the dog. This is your Morbius.
This is my Morbius.
This is your Morbius.
This is my Morbius.
And I think I ranked Morbius in the near 5. I think It was my 7. Morbius was my 6, and this is your 5. This is your Morbius. This is a shame. So here's the thing: before we go into our spoiler section,
well, okay.
Thanks for joining us.
Hold on. I got to say why I thought it was a feed it to the dog. Why do you think that this is a feed it to the dog?
Literally everything that you said. I mean, the film itself was just poor, and I feel like this was a example of why our
previous regime, I will call it a regime,
was let go because nothing but marketing, no creativity in this film. I feel bad for the directors because I feel like they gave the executives a great test screening, but then our regime took a bunch of notes and was like, this all needs to go. It needs to be cut. And one thing I've noticed with these past Disney films, such as Marvel and other things, there's been a lot of cuts.
Oh, yeah.
With Doctor Strange,
yeah,
you noticed that with that. You noticed it in Thor: Love and Thunder. Yeah. You noticed it in The Lightyear. You noticed it in this. There were so many cuts. And that is why I'm glad the regime is gone and the new one is back, because now there can be creative films.
Yeah.
So, thanks for joining us. Please like and subscribe. Leave us a comment or leave us an email, elpodcastmz@gmail.com, because now it's time, my friends, for the spoilers section. What the hell are we doing with our spoilers section? Do we want to sound the alarm?
I'm going with just kind of a basic spoiler alert, because meh.
There's one thing we're going to talk about. It's man versus nature and the big oil theme.
Like the whole, again, they tried adding and shoehorning yet another theme into this movie.
Yeah.
And what they basically, it's a play on big oil.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like it's their plant electricity thing that they find at the beginning of the movie is actually an infection and is actually killing their world. So they have to make the decision: do we save our world or do we save our electricity and let us go to ruin eventually? So they choose world. It's a very blanket allegory.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And again, it's a great message, but it came so late in the game that you're like,
what the hell?
Fuck?
But hey, Jaeger was finally able to make it to the other side of that mountain.
He looked into an eye very, 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 very precociously.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
That's Strange World.
Oh, God.
Why did I waste my time seeing this film on Thanksgiving? Was because it was on your top 10.
Hey, I was excited for this film.
Was I for Morbius.
I was very excited, and I thought maybe they're not marketing this because because there's going to be some huge bait and switch or something. No, they weren't marketing this either because Ethan's a gay character, which screw you, Disney, if that's the reason why you weren't marketing it. Or B, they just did not have confidence in the film, which is also probably why they didn't market it.
Yeah.
So it was. No, y'all. You're
All
better
right,
than this.
friends. Before Zach has a fit, thank you for joining us. Give us a like.
Zach.
He's Zach. I'm Mitch.
We are an excellent little podcast. That's it. Bye.